Any purchasing decisions over £50, I know that I'm not allowed to make. Well, that makes absolutely no sense. No one can ever do that. That's impossible. Premature jubilation.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. This jingle is slightly too long.
It's part 2 of the two-parter, and we're talking about sales, which is different to marketing, even though a lot of people think it's the same thing. And no stories about me beatboxing dressed as an Aladdin falling through women's toilet windows, but a lot of valuable stuff that's going to tell you how we have converted nearly all of the business we've pitched for in the last 6 months, which I think will be good for people to learn.
I think we've learnt a lot, haven't we, from starting 6 years ago to not really having any proper processes set up or anything, and now we're actually converting a lot of business. So hopefully this is valuable to.
I also think with this, we had a couple of things in the marketing stuff that we've changed that's been a game changer, but with the sales processes, I think there are 2 or 3 things that we changed, and it was literally overnight. Suddenly we were winning so much more of the business that we potentially could have won. So I'm hoping
we're going to share a lot of that in this episode.
Yeah, I'm hoping this won't be entertaining at all and will just be really valuable for business people.
Well, no, there's definitely some entertaining story. We'll have a debate again, Lloyd, that this is going to be entertaining.
Okay. Well, we'll see. I'm certainly not going to put any effort into it, be it. God.
You're really good at doing
Welcome
podcasts
to the Business Anchors podcast, and one of the co-hosts can't even talk. Great podcast host.
So the last episode was on marketing. This episode's on sales.
That's summarising exactly what I've just said. Good summary.
What's the difference
between marketing? I know you're like the marketing keynote speaker and influencer, but can I answer my answer?
Go on. I'm intrigued because there's so many different opinions on this. What do you actually?
I'll tell you the right one.
Go on.
So you spoke about the funnel of like awareness, consideration, and purchase
in the last episode.
So in my eyes, marketing is the awareness and consideration. So making people aware that you exist, and then while they're trying to work out who they're going to buy from, making them consider buying from you. That's marketing to me.
Yeah.
And the sales part is that last part of the funnel, which is the purchase stage. So as in making it as easy for people to purchase from you, and making sure that if they want to purchase from you, or even almost fully sure they want to purchase from you, making sure that sale is converted. That's my rambly definition.
No, that's very similar to what I think as well.
Oh, I must have taught you it or something.
No.
Probably
just read the notes I wrote on the bit of paper.
Okay. No, I honestly didn't.
No. So I do think marketing is more about building that awareness and consideration for your product, and then like we fell into the trap as a business that we used to do all this stuff to attract a new business. We used to do all this marketing things, creating content, and just hoping that things come our way, and when they did, we just we'd do nothing proactive. We just let it all happen. Whereas as we've evolved as an agency and as a business, we've started to set up more proactive processes that once someone does once our marketing works and someone shows interest and they say, oh, what do you do? We might be interested in working with you, rather than just going, yeah, all right, do you want to work with us? We actually and probably when I started, it was just me. That was probably the kind of thing I was doing because I didn't have a bloody clue what I was doing. But to now actually having a really, which we're going to talk through, this structured process of understanding, someone has shown interest. What is the exact process that we want to guide them through? How do we monitor that process, and how do we hold their hand and convert as many people as possible that are showing interest to actually paying us to do work? And it's a really detailed process that we now go through that we'll talk through as well.
Yeah, and we're going to talk through that process. I think it's important to say though that every business is different. So your sales processes may be similar to this, and there'll be elements that you might hear that we're going to talk about and think, yes, we should implement that in our sales process. That's really going to make a change. But I think we've got to be honest. There's people that sell these sales courses and an online free webinar, but pay $1,997 to then get this really good bit that I honestly will tell you. There's no one sales process that's going to be like, just do this and you can have 10 times the size of your business. So I think we're going to be talking through our exact process. We're also going to be talking about other types of businesses and processes. But just be aware if anyone's trying to tell you this is exactly the steps you need to take for any business to win more sales.
Alarm bells should be ringing.
Yeah, definitely. Unless maybe it's someone really niche. So they're literally saying, if you're selling tortoises to 60 to 70-year-olds in Cornwall, these are the sales, and that's what you're doing, I'd say, okay, yeah, fair enough. Pay them the money. Learn to do it.
Yeah.
But if it's just in general...
Because it's so different for us as a service-based B2B business, we're trying to generate leads from people in marketing teams to then go and pitch to them in a meeting to then convert them to deliver certain services. That process is so different to someone selling mugs, like I'm holding a mug here, to...
Well, in a way, like you selling yourself, you're selling a bit of a mug, aren't you?
That joke again.
Gotcha.
Jesus, got to stop that, Lloyd. But yeah, so this person selling mugs to like business to consumer, they're not going to be meeting someone to have to pitch them to say, hey, will you buy this 50p mug? It's more of like an online process where they'll discover them, and then so it's very, very different. But we're going to share, like you said, we're going to share our sales process, and then also look at some of the sales process of our customers that are sort of B2C, product-based businesses as well.
So to start off, like you said, our sales process that we've been refining over the last 6 years, we start out, so we've done the marketing bit, someone's got in contact with us somehow, showing some kind of interest in wanting to buy something, some kind of service from us. What do we do?
Good question. So,
because I'm not involved, so honestly I have no idea.
Yeah, this will be a lesson for you, Lloyd. So the first thing is to really understand the steps that you want them to go through, the hoops that you want this person to go through to go from showing interest to becoming a customer. And we use some online sales and CRM software, which allows us to input these steps and guide these people through this process. So prior to this podcast, I've actually looked at exactly what those steps are so that I can share them with you, so that we can go through them. So the first thing in our sales process is that they've shown interest, like Lloyd said, step one.
That would be if they haven't shown interest, if you're just stopping people on the street going, yeah, okay, I'll just, here's the invoice. And they go, what? That would be rubbish, wouldn't it?
I mean, this is a vital step.
Yeah, vital step. If they haven't shown interest, the rest of it's not going to work.
However, Lloyd, you say that, a lot of people do bombard people who haven't shown interest. We get calls off people, it's just like cold calls. Hey, do you want to buy this thing that I know you don't want, but I'm going to try and sell it? That's why that's such crap.
That does actually make sense. That's a step then. Sounded absolutely ridiculous, but makes sense.
So someone's got to show interest. Step one. Once they show interest, and again, I don't want to teach you how to suck eggs, but when we started, we didn't do this at all. The next thing we need to do, and we do, is qualify them. So, go on.
No, I think this is interesting because, again, when we started our business, if you said, how have you qualified this customer? I'd probably say, what does that question mean? But now it's just something I know that we do every single time. But I guess go through your process. But I've because I feel like I'm awkward in sales situations. Yeah. I'm wondering, how do you qualify a customer without like offending them or just being weird and awkward?
So first of all, just to give context,
because I'm weird and awkward.
Yeah, that's why I do this sales, Lloyd. Firstly, to give context, qualifying a customer is just making sure that they're the right customer that you want to go through the rest of your sales process and convert. Like, for example, we use this model, this acronym called MAN to qualify. I don't even know if you know this, Lloyd, but I use it. So acronym called MAN, which is means, authority, need. And when you're qualifying someone, they need to tick those 3 boxes to know that it's worth moving to the next stage. And if they haven't ticked those 3 boxes, then you either need to speak to them to get the information you need to tick the boxes, or they're not right for you and they fall out of that process.
That makes sense. If they're not right, you want to work out straight away. So this is only the second step. You don't want to waste your business resources on going through the next stages with people.
And I'll just explain what means authority needle, and then I'll tell you a story of how I completely mucked this up and didn't do that.
Good. I've been waiting for funny stories about you being shit, Dan.
Okay.
Come on.
So just quickly, means is, do they have the budget? So it's pointless investing loads of time with a person. If you sell, $5,000 jacuzzis and someone's coming to you, I really want a jacuzzi, and they've got 20p. It's really, or like 100 quid. It's really pointless.
I was going to say, if they got 20p, they're definitely mental.
I've got 20p. Anyway, authority is, are they the decision maker? So again, we've had trouble in the past before knowing this, where someone's shown loads of interest. We've invested loads of time. It sounds like they've got the budget. They're saying, yes, we want to work with you. And then we realise that their boss is the decision maker, and their boss has not bought into the whole. At
the end, they go, "Oh, I absolutely love it, but my boss said no." And you kind of realise, the person that was making the decision was never interested in working with us.
Exactly.
And this was never going to work.
And even like in another example, like say you're a business to consumer business that sells products. You don't want to be if let's go back to the jacuzzis. If you know that it's the woman in a relationship that is the decision maker who buys the jacuzzi, and you're constantly advertising to the husband, then you're getting it wrong, because you want to be getting to the decision maker.
I would never be allowed to buy a jacuzzi. So
no, that's actually true.
Any purchasing decisions over £50, I know that I'm not allowed to make. So perfect. Yeah, perfect sense.
So that's the authority. So you need to check that. And then the need, do they actually have a need for your product or service? Someone might come to you thinking that they need what you provide, but when you ask, specific questions to dive into their problems, you may not be the best solution to their problem. So you need to, for us, for experience, we know that yes, you could convert the business if you make out that you're the best solution, but down the line, firstly, it's not ethical if you know there's a better solution to their problem. And secondly, down the line, they're probably going to eventually realise, this isn't the best solution, not be happy, and then it's going to impact.
Because for our business, I think a lot of that is, obviously, we're in social media marketing. A lot of people in businesses think, I'm pretty sure, from all the stuff I'm reading and seeing, we should be doing some social media stuff. But they don't actually know why they should be doing that. So sometimes they would approach us thinking, I should be doing this.
Can you do the social medias for me?
Yeah, exactly. And it might not be the best way for them to invest at that stage of their business or...
Yeah, so that's the three. And the way this is different for different types of companies. The way we qualify people is through that initial step of having a call and asking the right questions. What are your objectives? What are you trying to achieve? Are you the only person that's going to make the decision for this sort of piece of work, or is there other people involved? And asking the right questions to really...
One thing I wanted to ask, as someone who would definitely be terrible at this, is how do you... So you're saying means, so you need to make sure they've got the budget. How do you talk about money at that early stage? Because I know certainly in other jobs I've had and early on in our business, if I was having to talk about money, then I'd be like, I don't really want to talk about that. Yeah. Let's talk about other stuff first.
That's a really good question. And I think, again, I'm not an absolute expert at this. I've just learnt through experience and improved through experience. So starting out, I was exactly like you, and talking about money was a horrible thing, because you think, should we be charging that? Shouldn't we? Is it worth it? But over time, the first thing in terms of your confidence of speaking about money, when you know that what you're charging provides that customer value, and you believe in your offering, you have so much more confidence. Like, for example, now I don't bat an eyelid to say, that project will be 10, 20, 30 grand or whatever it will be, because we know we've got a process that generates trackable return on investment. So I can literally say, that's how much it'll be. Here's an example of this big brand we've done it for before. And if they gasp and go, what? No way would I afford that? We go, okay, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. It's not right for you.
I think that makes complete sense, because I think, again, if obviously I don't deal with the sales stuff with our business, as I've said, but I know that I feel more confident these days, because when I was doing it was when I first started doing stuff to do with digital marketing. And I remember working out what I was earning a day in my other business. And it's like, okay, so I'll probably take home about 80 quid a day for work when I was an employee. And then it was like...
Didn't you ask Dad what you should be charging?
Yeah,
for
Dad, you've been working for your own thing for years. How much should I charge? And at first he said something like, oh, well, you want to get to at least £600 a day. And at first I was like, well, that makes absolutely no sense. No one can ever do that. That's impossible.
Lloyd almost fainted when he heard that.
And then he negotiated me down. I was trying to charge less and less. And he said, right, you need to be charging at least £250 a day. And so when I was working out an employer earned £80 a day, I thought if I mention that £250 a day to anyone, they're just going to absolutely laugh at me. And then I remember he was basically, as we said in our previous episodes, Dad's given us loads of really good advice. He sort of went through the finances like, this is what you need to charge per day to make this business even work. So I thought, okay, I've got to do it. Spoke to the first client. Next sort of said, so how much for these 2
Lloyd was
days?
sweating by this point.
Well, you know, it's and then probably £250 a day or something. And they're like, sorry, Lloyd, you were whispering to yourself. Oh, £250 a day, and just thinking them to like just look at me and go, get out. And
face off.
And they just went, okay, great, yeah. And I remember kind of looking at them like, are you sure? But I think that was because in the early days, when you're first starting out, you're not as confident in what you're going to deliver. So that seems high value. Obviously, if you charge what you're worth, it makes sense. But
that's the thing. Having even starting out, you should be charging based on the value you're providing. You know, what we started charging when we started out and didn't have as much expertise and experience as now was much lower than what we charge now, because that's so even if you listening to this are starting out in something and you're thinking, what should I charge? Do your research to think about, first of all, what do other people with similar experience charge, and then be confident that what you're charging is worth it, and then it will be much easier to actually talk about money, because you can say, you know, if you get questions or objections, you know, that's too much. You should be practicing your answers to those objections. Well, that's too much money. Well, I understand that you think that, but through, you know, this product or service we offer, it actually saves you X, Y, Z amount of money over 2 years, which actually makes it a really good return on investment for you. Like it's understanding those objections.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. That's been very helpful.
Cool.
When I run away and start my own business, it's going to be brilliant.
So that was stage 2. So just to recap, they've shown interest, we've qualified them, and the next stage is to schedule a meeting. So once we've qualified them, if we think it's, you know, if they tick all the boxes, we then will schedule a meeting to deliver like a creative pitch to say, and on that call we'll ask. Once we've qualified them on the call, we'll ask them about their objectives and things, and then we'll go and deliver.
Because I was going to say, how do you know whether you should kind of do a pitch to something, you know, with like a presentation, or if you should just go and have a discussion?
That's a really good question. And for us, it varies, and it's really this is a crap piece of advice, but it's using your initiative and your experience of these things, like trying to gauge, you know, what's the turnover of the company that you're working with? Is it like a really small one-man band, or is it a big brand there's a big opportunity? And for us, it tends to be, you know, when we consider there to be a potential, you know, in the next couple of years that it could be a good opportunity, we'll go over and above. And someone even messaged me on LinkedIn and asked about pitching, and they said, for every lead you get, do you do a massive pitch and invest loads of time? And the guy was saying like they've had trouble because they invest so much time in these creative pitches, and then they only convert a small amount of them. So it's really using your initiative and learning through experience, I guess. And
well, we've mentioned in a previous episode about failure. Would that have been episode 3 or 2, or maybe 2? I think.
Yeah, one of those.
Where we went into a scenario where we didn't know we were supposed to pitch, and just had a really awkward meeting. And where do you want to plug in? And I was kind of going, what? Plug in what? Yeah. And so we've certainly learned from experience. If you want to hear the details of that really cringy story, it's the episode about failure, 2 or 3.
You'll struggle to listen to it because the story is really cringy. But
yes. Yeah.
So yeah, and then we have a meeting, a creative meeting. Then we go away and put together an action plan, which is, we call it an action plan. It's basically a proposal where you outline what you plan to do, the costs, and then we. Something we've now changed is, rather than just, we've mentioned this before in other podcasts, but rather than just sending a proposal or an action plan in an email and wishing for the best, you actually, in the previous meeting that you have, you schedule the next meeting to go through that action plan or that proposal. So then that person, it's much easier to convert someone when you're going through the proposal with them line by line than just sending an email and crossing your fingers and
that
hoping.
is one of the 2 or 3 things I said at the start of the episode that immediately overnight was a complete game changer in how much business we were converting. So just sending off whatever you call it, a proposal, action plan, quote, whatever you're talking about, doesn't matter how detailed or not detailed it is. As Dan said, if you're in front of them, you have the opportunity, anything they're unsure of or that would make them think, maybe I don't want to do this, you can answer them. So maybe they're thinking, I'm not sure if this is good value. You then explain why it's good value. I'm not sure if this is right for our business. You can explain why it's right for the business.
With examples.
I don't quite understand what this £500 for. You then explain what it's for.
Whereas if they just open an email and read it, all those things, they'll just think, oh no, it's not worth it. And then in their mind, they'll then.
So that was that 100% is a game changer. So setting a meeting to go through it together before you've even sent it. Because also if that meeting's set, even if they do read it before the meeting, we usually send it 24 hours before or something, and think, I'm not sure about this. You've already got the meeting set up. They're going to at least talk to you about it. But Dan, you did miss out a step that you definitely suffered from a problem for 2 or 3 years.
Go on.
So between the meeting and sending an action plan, Dan used to suffer from something. I mean, a lot of men have this trouble, Dan.
I'm intrigued what you're going to say now.
A lot of men, it's not only you, lots of, I think it's something like 30% of men struggle with this. Premature jubilation. So Dan used to go to meetings and come out and go, yeah, they've said they want to work. I'm just going to send an action plan next week. And and this is a really big client for us. This project's going to be so good. Oh yeah. And Dan would convince me to go out basically stop work that day, go out for beers with him to celebrate because we've won this huge client, prematurely celebrating.
He hadn't signed on the dotted line.
Yeah, Dan, we realised after a while, send the action plan, have the meeting, get a signed agreement that it's going ahead, and then you celebrate. Can celebrate. So just be careful. Don't suffer from premature jubilation. It's fine if you do. Like I said, a lot of men suffer from that, like Dan. But yeah, that was the
most
tough,
frustrating thing.
And I think it is hard. Some people face to face with you struggle to say no to you. So I think that's something to be aware of as well when you're meeting people.
I mean, we've even had, not naming any names, we've even had opportunities where we've met with the people and they're literally going, right, 100% doing this. We've literally in the meeting said the price because they said, roughly how much? Yeah, 100% doing it. Let's do it. Send me the signed agreement. It's done. It's a done deal.
I've literally requested the invoice immediately.
Yep. We've sent the invoice, and then after following up, they sort of go quiet and then don't.
Yeah. So be aware of that as well. Some people do struggle face to face to say no, and that's fair enough. We've all got our own strengths and weaknesses, so be aware of that as well. Don't get too excited.
And now I'm completely the other way, and I will not get excited at all until we get the signed agreement, just because through experience I've had so many premature jubilations or whatever you call it, Lloyd, that I've learned from my mistakes.
Yeah. Didn't you suffer from something else that sounded like that as well? I think, do you say you went to the doctors or something? Yeah. I can't remember what that was.
No, I can't remember, Lloyd.
No? Okay. Okay, so right, you got over that. You've sent action plan. You've set a meeting to go over.
So we've gone through it, and then hopefully you get them to sign on the dotted line in that meeting because you overcome their objections. If they sort of don't and they want to think about it, then we just have 2 more steps, which is chasing up by email and then chasing up by phone. Oh, actually, the final step is the really good one, is the breakup email, Lloyd. You like the breakup email, don't you?
Yeah, because again, it's one of those things that someone could listen to this and change it today in their business,
and it could.
And again, it will make your income increase the next time, the next few times. Yeah.
So the breakup email is literally kind of does what it says on the tin. If you've been following up with someone or trying to call them or email them, and they're sort of diverting your calls and not answering and not doing what you want. You can't just do that forever. If we were doing that forever, we just have hundreds of people that we're constantly following up that will never work with us. So what you need to do is send a breakup email, which is a very clear, concise email with the subject line that I use is final follow-up.
Sounds aggressive.
No. And it's a very clear, concise email that says, "Hi, so-and-so. We've tried contacting you via phone 3 times, email this, and we haven't had any response. So this is the final time we will follow up with you if you're interested in working with us. If you are interested in working with us, then please reply. If not, whatever." Like, not whatever, but it's...
If not, whatever. Fine. Don't even care.
No. It's like a breakup email, breaking up with someone.
Yeah.
And I guarantee that those emails get the most response because sometimes... people are busy. Our potential customers or marketing teams, they're busy people. So sometimes they are just busy. Sometimes they just don't want to work with you and they just can't be bothered to reply. So they will say, "Oh, sorry, we can't actually work with you."
But also finding out they don't want to work with you saves you the time.
Yes. We want to be told that rather than just leaving it open.
There's no point not knowing.
Yeah.
Because you're just wasting your time. It's much better to get a no than not an answer. So.
Yeah. Saying that, again, not naming names, but I can... One client we've had in the past, didn't you were following up, Lloyd, and for 2 years before we had this process, and then they eventually, after like 2 years, said they were gonna go ahead with.
It was literally 2 years. That was the weirdest one I've ever had.
So that just goes against the advice we've just said. But
yeah, I did a breakup email and everything, and then 2 years later they just sent an email like it was completely normal, like we were talking last week. "Okay, Lloyd, we're ready to go." And I was like,
yeah, 2 years ago.
Well, firstly, I can't even remember what this project was about because it's 2 years ago. Secondly, our prices have definitely gone up because we're much better than at what we do than 2 years ago. Yeah, that was strange. Breakup email. Yeah,
that's it. That's
cool.
our process.
And I feel like I need a jingle for like Lloyd's top tips. Do. Probably a better jingle.
Probably a better one than that.
Because like things like the breakup email, things like just arranging a meeting to go through proposal, quote, action plan, whatever you want to call it. Those are the things that you can literally implement in an hour of writing a breakup email or amending your processes, and just have such a huge effect on the amount of business that you win. Yeah.
Those small things, there's definitely those small things that you can take away and just do it.
So moving on, that was our business, and I think that will be really valuable for some businesses that are similar to ours, service-based businesses and that kind of thing. There are also people selling products or selling much lower value things. If you're selling an £8.99 product, it's very different to selling.
You're not going to go and pitch
the services for thousands and thousands of pounds that we do, and also you need to sell a lot more than the higher value stuff we do. So, what advice do we have here then, Dan? So, because I don't want to add any value. I want to ask you.
So, for other types of business, I'll just give you an example. So, we work with a brand that sells male grooming products. A really, really large brand that sells hundreds of thousands of male grooming products across the world. And when it comes to the actual sales process, they're not going in and pitching Joe from down the road to buy an 80 quid
Imagine
trimmer.
That knock on your door. We've seen you've been on our website. Just wondering if you want to buy this beard trimmer.
Yeah. But, so they need to think differently. They need to think, when someone's at that stage of their journey of wanting to purchase a product, or they're very close to wanting to purchase a product, where are they looking? What are they doing? And how can this brand optimize that process to get them to actually take action? And for example, this is an e-commerce brand as well. So they've got a website where they sell these products and services. So when someone's almost ready to buy, it's highly likely they're going to be on a sales page or on a product page of your website, like looking at the product. So you as a business need to be thinking, what do you need to put on that product page to make someone buy it? In really simple terms. And the best example of this in action is Amazon. We all know Amazon.
They sell quite a lot of stuff.
They sell quite a lot of stuff. Yeah. Jeff Bezos is doing all right.
Yeah.
And if you just, if you are a business, or you run a business that sells products, just take this one small action, and I guarantee it will help you generate more sales. Look at Amazon's product pages. Look at what's on them, and put that stuff on your product page.
Yeah.
So that's another.
Oh, that needs a jingle. Lloyd's top tips. That's just so simple. But the company that's selling the most stuff in the world.
But if you think about it, like everyone listening would have bought something off Amazon. When you go on an Amazon product page, think of your purchase process, right? So you want to buy something, you know, you go on Amazon, you go on the product page, you look at reviews. Reviews is such a big thing. And I know there's this whole thing around fake reviews now. So, but you look at reviews, you read them to see how real they are. You read them to see what people are saying. There's product videos, like lots of different product videos. There's other people who have bought the products showing videos of them using it with reviews, you know, user-generated reviews. There's people asking questions that other customers are answering. There's every technical specification you could ever want to know on that page. So you as a potential customer have every single piece of information that you need to see to buy that product.
It's like in our business, how we said we'd meet a client to go through the plan so that we could overcome any objections they had, and so they'd be answering those questions. So what do other people think? Well, these other clients exactly like you have got these brilliant results.
Your product page
on a
is
sales
that
page,
meeting.
it's doing that. Yeah, anything they could ask or think, oh, I'm not sure this is for me. I'm not sure if that would fit in the corner of the room that I want to put it in. Oh, there's dimensions. It's 12 centimeters long. It does.
And you know, we've found for brands we've worked with, like something that really, really works is for this type of business is user-generated product reviews and unboxings. So if you actually see a real-life human being, a real person who's like Joe from down the road, who you may know, actually opening the box and saying, oh, this is interesting, let me just try it on my hair, watch them using it, that adds so much credibility as to if that's the product you want or you don't want.
And also in other areas of your sales and marketing, the more similar that person can be to the customer, potential customer that's watching it, the more likely they will purchase. So if they are a 60-year-old man from Cornwall and they see a 60-year-old man from Cornwall unboxing this product and using it, they're going to relate to that person and think, that's someone just like me saying the product's good, so I think it'll be good and I'm going to buy it.
That's exactly why with the campaigns we run, we choose a wide demographic of people to test the products. You know, like a lot of brands choose young influencers and YouTubers to use the product. Nowadays, we don't believe what they say because we know they're just being paid to use a product. Whereas 60-year-old John from down the road that's like, oh, this is all right. Yeah, clipping my ears and stuff.
The guy I was talking about from Cornwall.
Yeah, the guy you're talking about from Cornwall. Yeah. You know, if you see him, it's provides much more impact and believability and trust than
real people that are relatable to your customers. I think we're
using your product.
We're finding a hugely valuable, and I know in influencer marketing, influencers have their audience that will listen to anything they say. But we're all becoming more aware that when people are paid to say things, they'll probably say they're good. So those relatable, real people are really, really useful on your product pages to get more sales.
Yeah, definitely.
That was.
I thought that was quite useful then.
Yeah, this is.
We actually said something useful.
That's got to be the clip that we put to promote this episode.
Yeah, all the rest is shit except that.
Watch the rest of this. That didn't even make sense. To listen to the podcast, click here. Sorry, podcast listeners, just doing an advert in the middle of the podcast. Great. So that was really far too much value. So I feel we need to talk about some funny shit. Have you had any? I'm thinking recently I had a terrible sales experience.
Okay.
Well, I've had a couple, but one was I was trying to buy a car recently.
Yeah.
And I think this is the lesson to learn from this is about expectations, and there's no point marketing a product to be something it isn't if then they're going to get to the sales
Very good
process.
Takeaway, Lloyd.
Yeah. So before you know it, that's the takeaway.
Yeah.
Was trying to buy this car from this guy, saw it online, thought, oh, that looks brilliant. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Good price. Okay, all this good stuff. Went to drive like half an hour away to meet him. Thought I literally had the cash in my pocket because I was so sure it's what I wanted.
But didn't you'd already agreed with him and said, oh, I'll buy the car for this much.
I'll pay this much if it's like it's described and it's like it's in the photo. He said, yeah, definitely, yeah, come down. Had that amount of cash in my pocket. Yeah, thousands of pounds in my pocket to buy this car. And not that many thousands. Don't really give a shit about cars. And went there, sort of pulled up. Oh, that's all right. Walked around the car. Huge dent all the way down the other side.
As if someone's taken a crowbar and just...
Yeah. And I kind of looked at it and I said to him, well, what's this? And he just said, oh, yeah, it was an accident a couple of months ago. So, yeah, you can get it sorted, though. And I was like, well... when we were literally negotiating a price for me to buy this, did you not think to tell me, oh, the side that this wasn't photographed from, there's a huge dent that's going to cost £1,000?
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh no, it's pretty simple to. And I just sort of was.
I
felt like a disappointed parent. I was looking at him, kind of like, well, what did you expect me to do? Just come and go, oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'll give you a couple $100 off. I was like, no, I don't want to buy this.
Yeah.
This
half
isn't
the car's been torn apart.
Yeah. So I think, like I said, lesson is there's no point marketing your product to be something if you're going to get to that final stage and it's not what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
Have you had any bad experiences?
Yeah,
like
I
that?
can think of one. So when Christelle and I bought our house, I can't remember when it was now. Was it 3 years ago or something? We did the classic sofa shopping. Have you done the sofa shopping? You must have done.
Yes.
Yeah. So we went into.
Yes, I have a sofa.
We went into probably the most well-known sofa shop that seems to always have a closing down sale, but never closes down. I'm not going to say which one it is. But we
closing down sale till October 1st, and then October 3rd. October 2nd, it's full price. October 3rd, closing down sale.
So I don't know if you're listening and you've ever been into a sofa shop or this sofa shop I'm speaking about, but we went in there, and obviously we're going to go around and sit on all the sofas and stuff. Went in there, one of the salespeople was there, sort of just said, "You right, guys? Do you need any help?" We're like, "No, we're just." We're fine. Just let us sort of move around. Yeah, fine. Just tell me if you need me. So as we were walking around trying sofas, this sales guy just sort of followed us about 10 meters away and just followed us. And every now and again, he'd go, oh yeah, the leather there, the this, that. We were just like, this is making this experience terrible. We just want to try sofas out, and you're following us and telling us features of the sofa. It was just an awful experience.
It's like being on Amazon if they implemented a bit where a guy pops up in the corner. You're right. You want to buy this then? You're right. Yeah. This looks good, doesn't it? You'd be like, I'm not going to go on this website again because that guy's so annoying.
Yeah, it's just awful. What about you? Have you got any other?
I think the only other, it's actually me.
What you do? You've been shares.
Yeah. Well, in a way, the old business I worked for, I just think to sum up how important these sales processes are to a business. So my old business. It wasn't mine. The old place I worked had no sales processes in place really, and they sent me to Russia. Lovely British Airways flight, very expensive. Stayed in a 5-star hotel where this event was going on to meet potential customers. Basically, for 3 or 4 days, met and chatted with potential customers. Had some expensive meals with potential customers. Just cost the business a lot of money, really. Quite enjoyed St. Petersburg. And then, had lovely chats. And I flew back. And so, as in there was no structured thing of objectives. Nothing after that. just wait. Well, let's see if that phone rings then. And I'm just saying, that's clear. And I do think a lot of businesses are like this. Especially when they're bigger.
I'm laughing because we probably used to be like that.
You're sending employees to places, and you're investing in this marketing.
Yeah. So let's hope the phone rings.
Yeah. And I just thought, I had a lovely time. But there was no So
what were you not told, Lloyd? Go there and get business.
I was told to take business cards. So they got my business card, got back. Do you give your business cards out? Yep. Great. So people could contact me if they wanted to. But it's kind of now looking back, in that business, they're 100%. I should have had a record of everyone I was speaking to. Then there should have been a process.
Put them into HubSpot.
Exactly. A process. Because I probably met 60 potential customers
followed up with a phone
for high value products. Thousands of pounds, so it could have been.
And obviously, all the other people they're meeting them just followed up and got the business.
Whereas
100%. You just
the people that had a sales process, they would have called probably 2 days after they landed back in the UK and sort of started the process.
Lloyd,
Great to see you. And
I can just see Lloyd sitting there by the phone for a few weeks, just waiting. Hopefully it rings.
Boss comes in. Has it rung yet, Lloyd? No. A couple of cold calls, and I signed up for that, so we're losing money now. Sorry, bought those. But I think to sum up, just to show how important those sales processes. Don't send me to Russia. I'll have a lovely time.
Spend loads of money.
So to finish up, Dan.
Yes.
I'd just like to finish up with a Dan's an Anchor.
Oh, go on.
I've done this for a couple of episodes, so
let's talk about how shit I am.
Yeah, we all know that Dan's an anchor. But a couple of episodes ago, we had a speed round of how to be. What was speed round of? I'm trying to think what it was. But anyway, one of the ones I said.
Oh, bad business advice.
Bad business advice. I said, be like Dan. Don't make any of your colleagues drinks, because in the end they'll just make you one and you never have to make them.
Oh yeah.
And I think that might have got in Dan's head, because he actually made me one coffee yesterday.
Oh yeah.
So since then he's made me one drink, which was lovely. Thought, what a treat. Oh, I've finally got through to him that maybe he shouldn't just be the one that gets made drinks all the time. Maybe he should. And I take my coffee black with no sugar, which, by the way, a very high percentage of serial killers, I saw a study, have black coffee with no sugar.
Oh, there you go.
Don't know why I said that. Makes me sound absolutely mental. And so got my coffee, tasted it. It was very sweet. Obviously, Dan's just put the sweeteners that he uses in his coffee in mine as well.
I was on autopilot.
On autopilot, were you, Dan? Or were you thinking, I definitely don't want to get in the habit of having to make anyone else drink, so I'll just do it shit the first and only time?
That was an honest mistake.
Yeah.
You're not painting me to be a very nice person, Lloyd, are you? To the listeners.
Oh, maybe if you were a nice person to paint, you'd be a
good painting.
Good, yeah, right. That's brilliant ending. Okay, good painting of a person. Right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks for listening. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I hope I know to the listeners. I know some of the listeners will really like the hearing about processes of businesses, things that you can implement and improve your business. Some people are probably
yawning, thinking
some people are more here for the entertainment. But please, it really help us if you let us know. So if you're kind of thinking, I didn't enjoy that as much. I like it when you're just telling funny stories that have happened in the business. Or if you're thinking, there was some really in-depth stuff there that I found really useful and I want to listen more, please let us know.
And if you've got any friends that you think might enjoy this, please let them know, because that will help.
We're all in lockdown. They've got nothing better to do. May as well listen to a podcast that has been rated 5 stars by everyone who's reviewed it, except one person who gave it 4 stars. So they might still be listening. And might think they always talk about me.
Yeah.
Is that 4-star review?
You listening the 4-starer. Don't ever talk to us again.
Yeah. Right. We've enjoyed this. Turn the bloody mics off. See you soon, guys.